three surviving contestants in the 15-to-1 grand final are Andy Carolan, a community school teacher from Ardee in County Louth, Anthony Martin, a librarian from Kirby and Merseyside, and Mike Watson, a computer programmer from Ipswich.
Thank you. Welcome back. As I told you at the beginning of the programme, we're going to play this final in a different way. With no target to aim at on the finals board, there is no advantage in contestants taking a series of questions. So these 40 questions will all be played on the buzzer. Andy, Anthony and Mike will lose lives if they buzz and answer incorrectly. If at the end of the 40 questions we have a tie, we shall have a sudden death playoff. Gentlemen, you're happy with the rules? Put your fingers on the buzzers, we'll make a start. Listen carefully. What is the essential part of the definition of a rectangle, which means that all rectangles are quadrilaterals, but not all quadrilaterals are rectangles? Mike?
The parallel sides have different lengths.
All four angles are right angles. The headquarters of the OPCS are based at St Catherine's House in London. What is the OPCS concerned with, Anthony?
Censuses and birth and death records.
Yes, it's the Office of Population Censuses and Surveys. The United States, what was the major effect on the 20th century history of the USA of an act introduced by the Republican Congressman Andrew Volstead and named after him? Andy?
Prohibition.
Yes, it's known as the Volstead Act. In a poll published in July of this year in Punch magazine, on a list of the people you most love to hate, Saddam Hussein came first. Who came second? Jeremy Beadle. Chess. White to make the opening move. How many of White's own pieces prevent the Queen making the first move? 5. James Ussher, a 17th century Archbishop of Armagh, produced a famous biblical chronology. In that chronology, what significance did he give to the year, Mike?
The beginning of the world.
The date of creation. The year was going to be 4004 BC. Quotations. Pictures are for entertainment. Messages should be delivered by Western Union. Who said that? Sam Goldwyn. Under what circumstances did Nawaz Sharif of Pakistan, George Vassiliou of Cyprus and Jim Bolger of New Zealand meet in October of this year? The Commonwealth Heads of Government Conference in Zimbabwe. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle was compiled in the reign of which Saxon king? Anthony?
Alfred the Great.
On we go, please. Which war cost Britain 749 fatalities in the 1950s? 1950 to 53. Andy?
Korean War.
Radio and television. In what context is 23 Railway Cuttings East Cheam? Mike?
It's the home of Tony Hancock.
The Health Service. What in the Health Service do the initials RMN stand for? Registered Mental Nurse. A famous birth. A child given the name Oceanus or Oceanus Hopkins was born in 1620. Anthony?
He was born at sea on the Mayflower.
On we go, please. Still ships under sea. On board ship, when specifically must a riding light be displayed? Mike?
When a ship's at anchor.
I need more.
When it's at anchor in a harbour.
At night. Greek mythology. Which Greek god and son of Zeus was the twin brother of Artemis? Anthony?
Apollo.
Which ministerial office has been held successively since 1979 by Francis Pym, John Knott, Michael Heseltine? Mike?
Secretary of State for Defence.
Tennis. In 1962 as an amateur, in 1969 as a professional. The name, please, Andy?
Rod Laver.
Of the only man to achieve the Grand Slam twice. From the Highway Code, please. What does a thick black diagonal line across a black-rimmed circle indicate specifically? Mike?
Normal speed limits apply.
The answer on my card says national speed limit applies, but I think it amounts to the same thing. Yes, okay. I want Christian names, please, put to any two of these four sets of initials. D.H. Lawrence, P.G. Woodhouse, W.H. Anthony, please.
David Herbert Lawrence and Pelham Grenville Woodhouse.
Yes, Auden and E.M. Forster were the other two. In geometry, what may be defined as a polyhedron formed by one polygon and a number of triangles? Mike?
A pyramid.
Musical theatre and musical films. Which character in a Lerner and Loewe musical is taught the correct pronunciation of, Mike?
Eliza Doolittle.
Yes, of 3 English place names, Hertford, Hereford and Hampshire. Micklegate, Fossgate, Walmgate, Andy?
York.
The 16th century. Her first husband was the then Prince of Wales. Her second, his... Anthony?
Catherine of Aragon.
Yes. NH3 is the chemical symbol for which pungent soluble gas?
Ammonia.
Roman numerals. What is unique about the year 1666 when written in Roman numerals? Anthony?
It's got all the different numbers and only once.
And more?
In the right order?
Yes. Sport. In 1988, Die Smara II was purchased for stud in England for a world record price of £77,000. His value comes from having won the Barcelona International race in that year at an average speed of 45 miles per hour. He is not a horse. What kind of creature is Die Smara II? Andy?
A camel.
At 45 miles an hour, Andy. A racing pigeon. Here we go. The name, please, of the present Governor of the Bank of England. Mike.
Robin Lee Pemberton.
From a famous book and film, what, in this order, please, were the wishes of the Lion, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man? Courage, a brain and a heart. The United States. Which state is named after a king of France? Anthony.
Louisiana.
He entered the House of Commons in 1781, became Chancellor of the Exchequer and Leader of the House of Commons at the age of 23 in 1782. And in 1783 at the age of 24, Anthony?
Pitt the Younger.
Yes. Politics. The Attorney General is Sir Patrick Mayhew. Who is the current Solicitor General? Sir Nicholas Lyle, QC. What was the name of Queen Victoria's most famous Scottish gillie? Mike?
John Brown.
Since 1962, Acts of Parliament have been dated by the calendar year. Prior to that date, Anthony?
They were numbered by the regnal year of the monarch.
Yes, and I didn't need to show you that then, did I? There you are. The Lake District, the North York Moors and the Pembrokeshire coast. What is the connection? Anthony?
National parks.
To which part of the body would you apply an ointment called an oculentum? Mike?
The eye.
Politics. Only one political party has won 2 general elections in a single calendar year in the UK since World War II, Anthony.
The Labour Party.
Yes, the year being 1974. English law. Very specifically, please, what phrase or term is commonly used in law to refer to the termination of an employee's contract of employment in a manner that is not in accordance with that contract? Mike?
Unfair dismissal.
No, it is specifically wrongful dismissal. And we will finish. Formed in the 1950s, who were Jet Harris, Tony Meehan, Anthony?
The Shadows.
Of Anglo-Irish descent and married to a Polish count, Constance Countess Markiewicz was in...
She was the first woman actually elected to the United Kingdom Parliament.
That was not going to be the question. The question was going to be, which political party did she represent? And it was Sinn Féin. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Edmund Kean, Edwin Booth, David Garrick were famous, what? Andy?
Actors.
Well, I think that was a much more exciting way to play the grand final. Those scores indicate that 28 of those 40 questions were answered correctly. Mike, wherever you are on the side of the studio, Andy, you were great opponents for Anthony. Anthony, you're a worthy champion, and this is yours. Laura, please. Well, that's it for this series. It only remains for me to thank the many people who work behind the scenes on 15 to 1 and to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And if you watch 15 to 1 on S4C, Blwyddyn Newydd Dda. We'll see you in the spring.